Well, we have people. That's good news.
Do you want to wait a minute before I introduce you, Ryan?
Whenever you're ready. I'm all good.
Cool. So welcome everyone who's currently joined. This is the Small Specialist Students' Union Communities of Practice. The person leading this community of practice and this session is Ryan Beasley. They are the General Manager at Newman Students' Union. If you're all good, Ryan, I'll leave you to it.
Yeah, no worries. Hello. This is really, really odd because I'm so used to speaking to everybody that I kind of know. I don't know about everyone else in the group, but I am certainly feeling the effects of having everything on Zoom still. I'm still not entirely used to it. For those of you that have seen me through LinkedIn or my picture, you'll see that I'm a huge catfish. I now have no hair from lockdown. And that's how I'm going to kick things off to start with. We're just going to introduce ourselves and I'll kind of go through, I'll get you all to introduce yourselves properly. And then just how an interesting fact. So mine is that I shaved all my hair in lockdown and now it's growing back grey. So I've decided to keep it that way. So let's go through and I know people are typing it into the chat, but let's go through and everyone introduce themselves properly. Starting with, I'll just go down the list. Amy, do you want to introduce yourself? No? It won't let you unmute. Okay. Let me, it's just going well, isn't it?
They should be able to unmute now.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, I'm Amy. I'm the Insights Coordinator at Brighton Students' Union. And I'm just here to learn about small and specialist unions because we have some partner colleges at Brighton and we have like part of the students' union is for them. So there's like a bit of two-way sort of thing. So learning about how to support smaller colleges.
Brilliant. Caroline?
Oh, yes, I'm here, aren't I? I was trying thinking. And yes, so yeah, I'm going to come up in my lockdown loungewear. Yes, I am Caroline and I am the Deputy Chief Executive at Bath Spa Students' Union. So I am like responsible for all our kind of like membership services, including comms as well. Having been a SAB way back when, I've now been a year back as a staff member in Students' Union land, which has been exciting.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Caroline. And is it Rabbi, the next person?
Hi everyone, my name is Rabi. I'm the Vice President of Education and the Deputy President of London South Bank University. And I was back in 2018, I was the International Student Officer and the course representative for the university as well. So this year, like I'm trying to, I'm in this meeting because I want to learn like how I can build up a good union for these students and how I can like make how I can like improve the student experience in my uni. Thank you.
Brilliant, nice to meet you. James?
Hi there, so I'm James Bampkin. I'm the Students Association Development Officer at SIUC, which is Scotland's rural college, right at the top there in Scotland. We've got several campuses based around Scotland, and we're trying to cover all that with 3 sabbatical officers and 2 members of staff.
Brilliant. Kira?
Yeah, hi everyone, my name is Kira. I'm the Student Experience Coordinator at UCFB, which is the University College of Football Business. We operate very much like an FE college would in that our sabbatical officers are not sabbatical, they're current students. Our Students' Union is not a separate entity at the moment. and it's kind of just finding my feet with that. I was a SAB myself at Liverpool Hope Students' Union, which is small and specialist, so have got some experience, but not from a staff member point of view.
Hi, Kira. Yeah, Liverpool Hope is very similar to Newman as part of the Cathedrals group and similar size as well. Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark, the venue manager at Keele Students' Union. We've just literally returned last week, doing 2 days a week at the moment, and then furloughed for the other 3 days. So today is actually one of my furloughed days, so I am zooming in from my bedroom, trying to avoid the dog and the crazy child.
I know the crazy child. I've got one of them myself. Gail?
Hi, I'm Gail. I'm the Student Engagement Coordinator at Walsall College. So we're relatively small. We're not independent from the college, so we have to kind of sort of fit in with them. We've got now 2 members of staff, 1 term time only, and we have 9 student union kind of posts, and they're current and sort of existing students, so no sabbatical positions. I think the recent kind of situation has really made me kind of look at what we're doing and how we're doing it. So this is just like a really good opportunity, I think, for me, just to kind of look at what we do, how we do, and what we can do differently. So just here really just soaking up as much as I can from everybody and everything. So looking forward to it. Thanks.
Hi, Gail. Is it Ankit next?
Hello everyone, good afternoon. My name is Ankit and I got elected as the president for our student association at Edinburgh Napier. I'm here to learn some of the new stuff which can bring all the unions together to share the information.
Hi, nice to meet you. Kat? Kat, are you there? Okay, we'll go to the next one. Callum.
Hi everyone. Yeah, as I said in the chat, I'm the Sport and Student Union Manager at the University of Buckingham. We specialise in 2-year degrees. We're a small university based in North Bucks. There's approximately 3,000 students at the university, and about 1,500 of those live in and around the town. We have a taught summer term for our 2-year degrees, so we've got students who restarted the summer term on the 13th of July. So my team have been on a rotational basis with furlough since March, but everybody's back now on a part-time furlough basis. Really interested to hear kind of what other small and specialist unis are thinking about doing in September with welcoming new students and a potential blended kind of learning model where we've got to try and engage students online who may also be overseas, but also those students that are joining us on campus.
Brilliant, nice to meet you. Vanessa.
Hiya, I'm the Activities Coordinator at the University for the Creative Arts. We are a multi-campus university with about 5,000 students, and we specialise in any subject in the creative industries. So from architecture to fine art, acting, film production, TV production, creative writing, that sort of stuff. So I'm based at our Farnham campus, which is like our biggest one and more like the diverse campus, but it's all very like creative and quite flexible in the approaches that they've done quite well in changing over to this online system now. So I'm again quite curious to see what other small specialists are doing, especially around the activities and the sports and societies volunteering side of things. So nice to meet everyone.
I actually many moons ago used to work for UCA.
Oh, did you?
So I know it really well. Yeah. I used to do democracy and campaigns coordinator some time ago now. So it's vastly changed.
Yeah,
let's go to Charlotte. Sorry, carry on.
It's all right. I'm just saying it's probably a bigger staff team than when you worked here.
Yeah, hugely.
Yeah,
hugely
we're about 9 now.
Charlotte, next.
Hi everyone, I'm a Senior Independent Education and Welfare Advisor at BPP University. It's a really long title for basically independent advice, is what I look after predominantly. We are, although BPP is specialist in focusing on law and business, we do have quite a large student population of around 16,000 students spread across the whole of the UK and different campuses, but we're only a team of 4 members of staff within the Students' Union, so we're a very, very small student union trying to cover a lot, so it's interesting to hear what everyone's experiences have been and managing a small student union and how we can reach students and things like that. So no, thank you for having me here.
Thank you for being here. I'm really pleased that I've actually got people coming to this session. It's great. Let's go back to Kat. I know Kat's kind of introduced herself through the chat, but if you'd like to introduce yourself now.
Hi, yeah, I'm Kat. I'm the Student Union President at New College, Durham. I'm not used to talking because I'm doing everything through the chat. Usually I've got a mental 5-year-old bouncing about the place. So working from home's been challenging. But yeah, we're at Meg College and we're really, really small student union. So there's only myself and then the manager as well, and obviously a few reps. So it is quite small considering we have taken on contracts with other campuses and things as well. So we have students at other campuses now. So I'm looking to really sort of develop those relationships and develop some best practice across that.
Brilliant. Nice to meet you. Simon, next.
Thanks, Ryan. Leeds Trinity Students' Union. I'm the interim general manager. About 3,500 students, 2 sabbatical officers, quite a range of services, including commercial and all the regular advice and clubs and societies, etc. So just nice to touch base with all the small specialists from around the country to see. One of the things of pressure to put Freshers Week on was quite an interesting one. I was hoping to see what everyone else was experiencing, but ours was quite pressured. So yeah. Just hoping to find out how everyone else is faring.
Yeah, it's one of the things I've written down for us to have a chat about today, is some of those pressures that we all seem to be getting from the university at the moment. Janine.
Hi everyone, I'm the manager of Hartbury Students' Union. Hartbury is a small and specialist provider of animal agriculture, equine, sport and vet nursing in Gloucestershire. I'm the only member of staff. I've got 3 part-time officers who are current students and who combined is the equivalent of 1 full-time officer. We've got about 3,800 students, 45% of whom are college rather than university. And like some of the others there, I'm not an independent union. I'm employed directly by Hartbury. We're not independent from the institution, and I'm not registered as a charity or anything like that. I have no commercial services. We don't provide bars or shops or restaurants or anything. That's me.
Brilliant, nice to meet you. Corella.
Is this working?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Sorry, I'm using someone else's computer. I'm not quite sure how this all works. Hi, I'm the activities coordinator actually for Roehampton Students' Union. So I'm kind of on the borderline of small students' union, kind of in medium. But we have a slightly strange setup where we have our student union, but we also have, I think the best way to describe it is probably Harry Potter with all the colleges, and each college has their own student engagement officer. So we're not only doing we're quite a small student union and we have our colleges doing things. So we're in a slightly strange situation. And I'm basically here to, yes, I think with everyone else, we've got the pressures of COVID-19, small space, limited resources. We've got a lovely but quite small team, and just really want to pick ideas and hear how everyone else is planning to do things without maybe the resources that some of the biggest students' union have.
Brilliant. And I feel you with using somebody else's computer. I've had to come into the office today and I've been scurrying around trying to find a webcam that works. So I understand that. And last but not least, we've got Jasmine. Have we got Jasmine? Okay, we'll let Jasmine introduce herself through the chat. So what I wanted to do with this is very much how community practices tend to work. I don't want this to be a session where I am just kind of talking at you. Ideally, I'd like to take a bit of a backseat role in this and kind of just let you all lead with the conversation. So I've got a few points down just to kind of get us started on the kind of things we might want to talk about. And the first one on my list, obviously, is COVID and where are we all at the moment? If anyone wants to start us off at all.
I can give a little bit of brief of what BPP and what we're up to. We are all, the whole of the Students' Association is working from home at the moment, so none of us were furloughed, so we've worked through this whole time. But we have 16 centres across the UK, so we were very active on centres and travelling around and meeting with students, and obviously all of that has come to a halt, so we're trying to create a virtual online community for the students, so putting a lot of our clubs and societies online as much as we can, running a lot more events online, and just figuring out what that's going to look for the future. We're in a position where our buildings are looking to reopen middle to end of September, but only for drop-in sessions or meetings with staff and not for teaching or for events and things like that. So it looks like our role is going to stay online for the foreseeable future, and just kind of coordinate the changing world really, and how we support our students still without seeing them and without getting that hands-on experience with them. But we're adapting slowly. I feel like we're getting to the swing of it now, but it's definitely been a challenge.
That's great that none of you staff have been on furlough. I don't know how we do this. Does everyone know how to do put their hand up? If we can kind of do a bit of a show of hands, how many people have had staff furloughed or are still on furlough at the moment? Callum straight in there. So are they still on furlough at the moment, or were they furloughed before?
So my team, we had people on a kind of rotational basis before this part-time furlough system came in. So I had at least 2 people working out of a team of 6 alongside our sabbaticals who haven't been furloughed at all, but tried to rotate people every 3 weeks so you weren't out of the loop for too long. But now that we've got the option to part-time furlough people, we've basically split the week in half. So me and one of my colleagues is working the first half of the week until Wednesday, and then the other half of the team will work the second half of the week from Wednesday to Friday, and we overlap in the middle, obviously, to pick up on anything that we need to kind of agree on as a group.
Brilliant. No, that sounds really good. Has anyone else got people still on furlough at the moment?
Yeah, I can just say from Basbar, yeah, all of our commercial teams, so we have a bar and a shop, have been on like full furlough since it started. And then in my team, which is the kind of membership kind of services, kind of had a rotation of people going on furlough. Not that we had less work to do, but mainly just because of the financial pictures being so desperate. So, and I've still got 1 member, so our like sort of societies coordinator is on furlough till the end of this month, and then everyone else will we're all back in. So yes, we haven't done any of the sort of like part-time thing yet. It's just everyone will be back.
We had everybody except for myself on furlough from May. And then they returned to the office beginning of this month, but 3 days a week. So part-time furlough. As we don't run any commercial services, so we've got myself, a union administrator who sort of manages our finance, and we've got 2 coordinators. One looks after voice and employability, and the other one looks after inclusion and communities, which includes societies. So that's where we're at the moment. Has anyone got anything different that they wanted to add in at all? Okay, what we'll do is we'll start talking about kind of the next thing that I wanted to put on to kind of have a conversation about. I don't know about everybody else, but we're having a bit of an issue at the moment with the university and their expectations for Freshers Week. So we're getting a lot of pressure at the moment where we've planned for everything to be virtual, and we know in our minds that we can be really flexible and we can deliver things quite quickly, but that answer just doesn't seem to be good enough at the moment. And I'm just wondering if anyone else has had any experiences like that, and if they have, what are they doing to work with the university, and do they have anything that they're planning for Welcome Week, which could be interesting to share with other people? Feel free, anybody, to jump in.
Yeah, I can add a bit about UCA. So we're starting to get a lot of questions from students as well as the university about what we are doing. But UCA has been quite understanding, obviously, about our situation, especially because we're 4 campuses across 2 different counties. We've had to come up with 3 contingency plans, which depending on UCA's own development in the situation. So we've kind of had to submit to them, like, and basically say, if you pick this option, we're going to do this. If you pick this option, we're going to do that. So we've had to show them that we are ready for their choices, which took like 3 times the planning, but it's been quite helpful to show that we are ready for like basically their possibilities in October. And some of that includes like OLI starting our activities in January, others having like a reduced service from October onwards. At the moment, we are planning to have a physical fair, Freshers Fair, but we're not like completely outruling like a virtual one, and I would actually like to do both for the students that can't go on campus. And we've also prepared if, for example, one of the campuses has to close but the others can stay open. And we run activities slightly different across all the campuses, so we're planning on working with our groups to make sure that they're aware of the different plans and what they have to do if UCA, within a week turns around and has to shut. So it's mostly just like planning for different possibilities and making sure everyone's aware. So, yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. I've just read that, Kat, you're doing some videos from organisations who usually have stands at your fairs. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so at the minute, we would normally be booking all the places and sorting all of the organisations that would generally attend. So instead, what we've done is reach out to them and see whether they can record videos and make sort of links available and resources available for students to go and find out more. So we're going to do that. As of the idea as a whole, we're not quite sure what platform we're putting this out on yet, and what we're doing alongside it, but we thought it was probably a good start to have those videos coming in, and then we've still got that connections with those organisations that we would generally have attending.
Yeah, so we're doing something a little bit similar. I put a post on LinkedIn a couple of months ago where what we have decided to do, we've got a really poor web website platform. We use Weebly. But what we're going to do is give each one of our partners who we've worked with in the past, who have always supported us in the past, because we know that the funds that we get from freshers contribute towards our funds all year. We've offered them a Freshers Fair stall virtually for free. And how we're going to do that is give each one of them their own web page with a video. So they can have a short video, and then I think up to 500 words and a link. And that will just be on our website. So there'll be a Freshers Fair, and then there'll be lots of kind of buttons with the names of each company, and then students can click on it. And the way that we're going to try and get students to go and look at each one of those, so that we are getting traffic through, is on each page we're going to have a letter. So then if a student visits each page, the letter will eventually spell like a word, and then they have to input that word into our website through a form, which then automatically enters them into a prize draw to win a laptop or something like that. So it's a bit like a treasure hunt online, but it's just web pages. It's nothing fancy. We can't afford anything fancy. You know, we're in small and specialist, aren't we? We haven't got any funds for that kind of thing, but that's how we're kind of running it. QC, we swapped our delivery from freshers to refreshers. Does someone from QC want to talk us through that, rather than me just read it off?
Yeah, I think it you know, for the big friend making stuff like your big freshers week, you know, we've probably taken the call that almost your refreshers becomes freshers and your freshers becomes refreshers. So switching that September to January window. Obviously for some people, they won't realise that we operate sites in Scarborough, in London, 2 in London, 1 in Scarborough, 1 in Poland. So we've almost got small and specialist SUs in different areas. So yeah, I think that's our view on provision. And if I'm honest, I think it's still too early to pick a passage for delivery, but it's just about making sure that we've got those scenario plans in place. We are certainly thinking that we'll do a physical fair, but it will obviously need to be longer and more spread out than it has been in the past.
Brilliant, thank you. Caroline, you're running Welcome Week over 5 weeks rather than just the one. And you're focusing on virtual events. What kind of virtual events are you doing? I think this would be really interesting to talk about, because I think everyone says virtual events and everyone hears quiz. I don't know if everyone else feels the same, but it'd be really interesting to hear what kind of virtual events you're planning.
There are no quizzes at the moment, I don't think. We could say that. So our welcome, we get he's not quite full time, but a kind of like sort of student placement to run our welcome kind of over the summer. So and thankfully he is our superstar who worked for us last summer, who has come back in now, and so isn't totally sort of starting this kind of from blind. So he's only started the last couple of weeks, but I'm kind of really interested by all the people who are saying they're still kind of doing kind of physical things, and like fairs particularly, and thinking, oh gosh, are we like really behind? Because yeah, we are generally thinking that we're going to stick with kind of mostly virtual things because at this stage, I guess, because we still don't quite know the physical stuff, we kind of know how to do that, so can kind of maybe do that a bit quicker than suddenly shifting everything to online. That obviously is kind of doing this for the first time. But yes, we looked at things kind of like just kind of trying to facilitate kind of mixers. That's quite a lot of like the sort of events we do as part of our welcome activities. So we would just kind of say for particular groups of students, so like a commuter students or mature students, we would just have a time where we'd say like, come to this room or this part of our, and we'll provide some like refreshments, and then kind of facilitate you kind of getting to know each other. So we're just kind of just wanting to do that online, but clearly it's going to need to be more facilitated than it usually would when we kind of just let people kind of chat to themselves. We're looking at like escape rooms, cook-alongs, where cocktail making classes, so you can come and get kind of the resources and like the stuff from our bar or our shop, but then go back and kind of do it in your accommodation as a kind of group, and kind of try to think how we can facilitate kind of smaller groups doing like an activity together and maybe joining up with others online, but rather than kind of facilitating kind of mass events happening in kind of one place. And then, yeah, we're just very much looking to kind of spread it over a much longer kind of period, just because we're not going to be able, we're also conscious of people being online like all the time and that not being either fun, helpful, or great for kind of mental health and well-being, really. So we're wanting to kind of spread them out.
That's brilliant. Callum, we will come to you.
Go on.
Callum, we'll come to you in a second. I think it's just a really nice point for us to talk about. Is anybody doing anything the other side? So not in terms of virtual events. Is anybody working on anything that is kind of in person? Carla has her hand up. Oh, no, she doesn't. That's fine. So I can talk about, before we go to Callum, I can talk about one of the things that we're doing. So we don't have many students in halls. I think we're about 95% commuting students. But the university has specifically asked us for what we're going to be doing for students who are going to be moving into halls. So we've got a new building which has lots of new rooms, and what we're going to do is we're going to make those bookable spaces in the evening. So we're going to put like board games in one room, Netflix in another, beer pong in another room, and just fill each room with something, whether it's a Wii or games console. And then students from groups of halls, so if there's 6 students in one particular halls, that's still the amount that we're allowed. They can book that as a free bookable space for them to come and use that space and use it safely. And the university have offered to set up a pop-up bar outside where all of these rooms sit. So it's almost like they would spend a lot of time in their rooms or in their communal rooms. It's just getting them out into a different space. So that's just one of the things that we're looking at doing at the moment. Does anyone have anything that they're working on physically at all?
We've got a few plans that we're going to be looking at next week or the week after. So although the SU doesn't have a bar, there is a bar on site which is run by the catering team, and myself, the bar manager, and the student experience manager form the student experience team, and we tend to work together to put events on. Unfortunately, the bar manager has been furloughed until beginning of August, so we haven't been able to plan anything until she's back. But the ideas that we've been having, so normally on the Wednesday of Welcome Week, we do a pub crawl around Gloucester with the students. So what we're doing is we're going to have some pop-up bars on our campus. We're a rural campus, about 10 minutes drive from the nearest town centre. So we've got lots of space. And so we're looking at maybe having some pop-up bars on campus and doing a kind of mini bar crawl around campus with our students, keeping them so that it'll be the students who live on site and they are counted as a household, so we can just move them about in their household units. We're looking at maybe there's going to be a marquee available during the day where people can have their lunch to give more space for food and everything, and it's possible that we might be able to use that one evening to do a silent disco, which we thought would be a quite good way of keeping people distanced. We're looking at doing silly things like making them wear like swimming noodles on their heads or hula hoops to keep them apart and just have a bit of fun as well. I'm hoping that some of our clubs and societies might be running some events for me, but the problem is my freshers are coming in the middle of September, and my returning students aren't coming until end of October, and it's the returning students who run the clubs and societies. So I don't know if I'm going to have any students available to run those kind of things, and that's why we're probably not going to have a physical freshers fair as well. We'll be doing it online because I just don't think that I'm going to have the clubs and socks committees about. We're also looking at doing just some craft activities as well, using some of the spaces that the university is using for sort of chill out zones and registering students and things like that. Just having some activities, maybe doing some, using our gaming society to do a gaming night, either online or physically, and then introducing kind of block challenges as well to get the students competing against each other. So yeah, just a few ideas, but until one third of our team is back, we can't really put the logistics in place. But we're definitely getting pressure from the university that they don't want it all to be online. They want the student experience to be physical as much as possible. But my pushback is, well, we want teaching to be physical as much as possible rather online, and you can't deliver that, so we're going to follow your blended approach and do what we can physically and what we can't virtually.
Yeah, I think you've got a lot more planned than what we have, to be honest. Does anyone else want to add anything before we go to Callum, who wanted to talk about pressure from the university to engage students pre-arrival? No, we'll go over to you then, Callum.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, I just was wondering whether anyone else had been asked to make more of an effort this year to get in touch with prospective students or students that have accepted offers from the institution ahead of their arrival in September. I've been at Buckingham for 8 years now, and this is the first time we've ever been asked to get involved in contacting students prior to their arrival. Certainly we've kind of given information when asked, but to actually create comms that goes to these students and create community groups online on social media and WhatsApp and things like that, this is a first for us. And we've had some engagement with it, but it's obviously just another thing to add to the pile when there's so much uncertainty already. And a bit like everyone else, we've been asked to do physical events for freshers, but also virtual events. And my bar manager was a bit like, well, what do you want me to do? Because you don't actually know what September, October is going to look like. So if I spend my time, money on setting up a load of activities that we're subsequently not allowed to do because we're in a local lockdown or guidance hasn't eased, then have we not just kind of wasted some of our resources? So I think at the moment, our plan as a student union is that we're going to end up with a range of events from what we would normally do right through to kind of completely online, and then we'll have to take out activities that aren't possible for us to do, or reduce the number of or increase the number of online ones dependent upon kind of what social distancing and restrictions are on student movement at the time.
That's a really, really good point on planning and resources, and it's something that I've had a bit of a really difficult conversation with our officer team. So our officer team are really, really keen to do as much as possible, like we all are. But I think what they don't understand on kind of a staffing level, and particularly for me a management level, is I've got staff in 3 days a week at the moment on part-time furlough just so that we can save money. I mean, the situation we're in is that even with the furlough savings, we're going into next year with quite a big deficit, quite a big planned deficit. So for me, the amount of time that staff are in, I need them to get the maximum out of that time. And I think the officers want us to plan lots and lots of different scenarios, and are getting a little bit upset when I'm pushing back a little bit and saying, you know, I can't have essentially my staff wasting time. I don't know if anyone else has had any issues with that. I mean, it's not just in the with the officers. That's kind of the similar response from the university as well.
I've had a similar experience, but for a little bit of a different reason. Because of my colleague left, who looks after independent advice for me, as lockdown hit, and obviously we've had a bit of a recruitment freeze. So I'm managing a service completely on my own, which used to be a 2-3 member team, and I've had to push back a little bit with the university and expectations and say, look, I just can't do that, and you need to understand that I'm working on reduced resources at the moment. But they almost want more than ever at the moment, and they want more happening to engage the students, and I think to keep the student numbers up, because I think they are concerned of that. But it's just, without the resources, it's not possible. And I think it's just finding that balance on how to approach that. But I completely agree with you, Ryan. It's a difficult balance, because people can get quite upset about it when you do.
Does anyone else have any views on pressures from the university, or even officers or students?
I don't know if anyone else has had this, but we've got quite a lot of pressure from the university. Actually, to be fair, I think it was by the end of last week, wanted the list of all the activities that we would be putting on, both virtually and physically. Not going to happen, though luckily our CEO stepped in there. They want a huge amount done virtually, but at the same time seem to be giving the vision through marketing that we will be coming back to campus part-time, and they will be studying on campus and at home, and are giving the impression that then there will be some activities on campus. But we've just hit a snag where we went to do timetabling, and timetabling's told us you can't use the rooms because of COVID-19. They want to clean them at 4 o'clock, and therefore you can't use the rooms in the evening because they won't be ready for lectures. So we're in a kind of very much a limbo. Our SABs think we're doing both. The university think it all should be done virtually according to that. And then we've got timetabling, and the lectures are stressed on that. So we're very much in a kind of scenario where we don't really know where we're going to move forward. And I don't know if anyone else has had that.
Are they not able to clean the rooms in the morning? Like, is that a problem?
I think that would be too easy. Let's put it that way. I'm presuming that would be the automatic response, but I'm going to guess must be some level of cleaning that they're now having to do. And in fairness, it's not the cleaners' faults at all, but there's obviously some restrictions there.
No, I think what we've made clear is there's only going to be 8 rooms that we're going to make available, because we can't see all students wanting to make those go to those bookable spaces. So, we've said, look, 8 rooms, it's not going to be a great deal for you to clean in the morning, or even in the evening, and we've offered to help as well. So that could be another thing that you might do. Charlotte, what
Ryan,
so I'm trying to look at the
if I just jump in on that point, Ryan, we don't own our buildings as well as a student union. We're kind of using university buildings, so we are very much at kind of the mercy of the estates department with regulations on cleaning and things. And although the bar isn't a part of the student union, it's also one of the departments that I manage, and we thought we could open with X number of students being able to come in based on social distancing measures, and they kind of slashed that in half. So we find that some members of staff in the university look for all the reasons why things can't happen, and some people look for the reasons why things could happen. So there's an element of finding your supporters, I think, within the university, people that kind of get what we're doing as a student experience, and that will look to find ways to help us achieve what we're trying to do, even if it's not the right way. But I completely understand where you guys are coming from when you run into brick walls with some people.
It's a really good opportunity there for officers and new officer training, because that sounds like you could do a really useful power mapping exercise to find out who their allies are in the university. So is there anything that anybody is doing at the moment which they think, not just to do with COVID, but is there anything that anyone's doing that they think, this is really good or really interesting at the moment? I can kick off with, I'm looking at implementing a 4-day work week in November. So from November the 1st, we're going to trial a 4-day work week. I think, you know, with COVID, it's proven that people can work from home or not at all. And the plan is for us to cut the hours down to 32 hours from 37, but pay all of our staff the same as what they're currently being paid. And part of that, as most of you will know, being a small and specialist, we don't pay our staff particularly well in comparison to the sector. And staff retention can be difficult. So what we're trying to do is find unique ways as a small union on how we can reward our staff that isn't in that kind of monetary value. And one of the ways which we're doing that is to launch a 4-day work week. So that's something interesting that we're doing. Does anyone else have anything that they're really kind of proud of at the moment, or something really interested they're looking forward to?
Can I just ask about that one, which I think sounds brilliant? How are you kind of just doing that? Are you, will you split it, like not everyone having the same day off, obviously, and that sort of thing? Just
yeah, sure. Yeah, so what we'll be doing is everyone will have a guaranteed 3-day weekend. So they'll either have the Monday or the Friday, but that'll be staggered. So there will still be people in the office. What we will attempt to do is have things called anchor days, which are Tuesdays and Thursdays, which means everybody, regardless of their job, is in on those 2 days, so that we've got these anchor points where all staff are in. We know staff may be off on, may work from home on a Wednesday or something along those lines. So we try and keep everybody in on a Tuesday and Thursday. And other than that, to be honest, as we've just set our new organisation values, and one of our values is to be brave. So I've taken that back to the trustees and I said, you know, this is one of those things you're never going to know the outcome until you've tried it. And all staff are going to be receiving a letter from me saying, look, we're going into it, we're going to try it, be prepared for it to fail, and we'll go back to normal in July next year. But, you know, if you're prepared for it to fail and for us to go back to everything how it is now, there's no harm in us trying it. And I think it is going to be one of those things where you just jump in and give it a go and be brave. So that's kind of what we're doing. It's a bit of a leap of faith, but one that I'm looking forward to. Does anyone have anything that they're working on at the moment? Question linked to Ryan Day 4-day work week. Any of unis looking at extending teaching hours beyond 9 till 5? That's a really, really good point.
Yeah, it was just really, sorry, it was just really to follow up on that. Just to say that Coventry are extending teaching until 9 p.m. But the interesting thing on that is that obviously if the teaching is carrying on till 9 p.m, what's the expectation in terms of all the other services that go alongside that? But also that they are suggesting that their university staff will also have to spread their weeks in order to socially distance to work Saturday and Sunday potentially as well. Sorry, just for extra context and for people to consider.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think this is actually quite a big opportunity for us, not just within small and specialist institutions, but across the board. My line manager, the PVC for Student Experience, said to me to think about the working hours for my team. We've always worked 9 to 5, but only because that is typical working hours. And she said, well, if the students would benefit from you guys being in the office and available at 6 o'clock, well, why don't we look at shifting work patterns? If people are saying that they're struggling to kind of complete tasks in the office because people keep walking in with questions, well, why not work from home? We've evidenced over the last however many months, haven't we, that we can work from home and work efficiently and effectively. So I think we're going to find an environment coming off the back of this pandemic where requests to work from home and to work differently in terms of your hours will be much more readily received than they would have otherwise been, because we've built up that level of trust. I don't know if other people feel the same way, and they're going to try kind of having those conversations with the universities.
I think trust is a really useful word there, isn't it? I think we are starting to trust our staff. I think there's a whole, for me, across everybody that I've spoken to, there's a shift in culture. You know, I think whether we like to admit it or not, there's an element where we kind of say, not even just as managers, I think as co-workers at the same level, where if somebody works from home, you know, questions are asked culturally, are they doing their work? What are they doing? And I think we're getting to a point where we sort of go, I don't really care if you've got to pick your kids up from school. And I think it's honestly great. I think it's really, really good. On the point of doing sort of later evenings, part of the buy-off, so part of the buy-in for this 4-day work week is that I've spoken to some of the staff and said, if we're going to a 4-day work week, what I will need you to do is potentially work some evenings so that we can accommodate for some of our part-time postgraduate courses, because some of the feedback that we've got is that we're just closed and we don't bother with our postgrads, which is a considerable amount of students and our members. So we're kind of buying that off a little bit. So I'm saying to staff, well, you're going to have to work some evenings, but the flip side to that is you're only working 4 days over 32 hours. That's something we've had a thought about. Anyone else have anything interesting that they're working on at the moment? We've got about 10 minutes left. Okay, what I'm going to do is, I think, you know, this has been quite a short hour. It's gone quite quick. But one of the things that I'd really like us to do is to do this more, you know, not so formally and as awkward as it started off, but I think just having a group of small and specialist students, unions, staff in a room where we can catch up and just say, hi, I've got this problem, or I've got this coming up, or you know, what are we doing at the moment? I think that'd be really useful. So I'm going to put my email into the chat. If you are interested in sort of doing this once a month for an hour, just pop me an email. I'll add you to a list and we'll get together. I know, Matt, you wanted to say some stuff at the end, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. It was really just an opportunity to say a couple of things, really. Having worked at small and specialist SUs for some years and understanding the challenges, I'll just echo probably, you know, some thoughts just on not being too hard on yourselves in this time. You know, the Leeds and Sheffields and the big boys don't necessarily have the answers either, and they've got, you know, much better resource to be able to deal with it. What I would say is that Coventry University Students' Union basically operates, as I said, with a number of satellite SUs. And so if there are things that you really struggle with, or things that you are worried about capacity and delivering, maybe it's finance function and you lose your finance person, or it could be that you have no one to create posters for you, or whatever it might be. I'll drop my email in the chat, but we'd love to help. And really, this is a time where I think student unions need to collaborate more. So just an offer of friendship and help from what I remember looking up and going, oh, look at those big boys over there playing with their multi-million-pound block grants and things like that. So really just an opportunity to say that, you know, within the ecosystem of everything, Coventry University Students' Union is there to help if we can.
Thank you, Matt. And I think that's probably the way things are going to go in the future. I think we are going to be working a lot more collaboratively with other unions. You know, funding's going to be tight, less students in university at the moment, and then on the back of COVID, for those of you like ourselves that are going into a planned deficit, I think collaboration's absolutely the way forward. And I used to be a SAB at Coventry many years ago, and I still know a lot of the team there. So if you are struggling, I'd highly recommend taking Coventry's offer up there to help out. as I said in the chat, just because I don't want to miss anyone's email, if you could just drop me an email, because I'm not even working off my computer at the moment, so trying to write them all down is going to be a bit of a nightmare. Just ping me an email, say that you're interested. I'll get a list together, and then we'll work out something for maybe a month's time and see how everyone's getting on. Last 5 minutes, does anyone have anything that they want to say, or are we all good to go and get some lunch or a cup of tea? Dying for a cuppa. No, I think it has been a short hour, and it's nothing formal. I think some of the other sessions that are going to be really formal and really useful for me. This was just about meeting some other people in small students' unions, having a bit of a chat and setting something up for the future. I think this is just an opportunity for us to start making this community of practice actually work and getting it in the diary every month so we can all help each other out. So thank you, everyone. I'm not going to call it my session. It wasn't a session. It was a loosely facilitated, but it's been great meeting everybody. I'm looking forward to chatting to you all soon.
Just put up on the screen as well for anyone interested. These are the sessions that are running throughout the rest of the day. So feel free to sign up to them. You will get an email shortly about a technical issue we had, so you can reorganize your schedule at schedule and sort of just take sessions that you don't intend on going to from your schedule. So it sort of stops those automated emails, but an email will be going out about that. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. No worries.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.